We all love it when developers go out of their way to add extra tiny little details in their game, especially the kind that many might not even notice. They do it because they love their craft, and we love seeing it. Not to mention the fact that it really does heighten immersion. In this feature, we'll be taking a look at 15 games from the last few years that did just that. Without further ado, let's begin. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Naughty Dog has a reputation for cramming its games full of insane details, and it's something that they keep taking to higher levels with each new game they make. Uncharted 4 was no different. Visual fidelity and production values are things that we see in games quite a bit. When it's done with this much attention to detail, you can't help but sit up and take notice. The Last of Us. Even though The Last of Us was a game that came out during the previous generation, in many ways it stands toe-to-toe with Uncharted 4, which is an achievement in and of itself. From the densely detailed environments to the nuanced animations to the tiny details peppered throughout the entire game, The Last of Us is a poster boy for Naughty Dog's obsessive attention to detail. Forza Horizon 4. Forza Horizon has been Microsoft's best franchise this generation on a consistent basis, and Forza Horizon 4 is probably their best game, and its quality shines through in every way possible. Every nook and cranny of the game's map, its environments, its weather patterns, its vehicle models, all of it is brimming with detail, showing just how much passion and love Playground Games has for this series. Drive Club. Drive Club might not have been nearly as good as many were hoping it would be, but while it did disappoint in some areas, no one can ever deny that it was a damn good-looking game. Even to this day, 5 years on from its launch, it's one of the best-looking games we've ever seen. The interiors of the car models, the exteriors of the car models, the way the rain splashes on your windshield, the way the roads glisten when they're wet, it all looks unbelievably good. God of War. God of War has always been a series that pushed the limits of whatever hardware it released on, and though God of War 2018 changed a whole lot, it didn't change that much. From the designs of the enemies to the quality of the motion and performance capture, to individual smaller details like the flora in the environments or the gore or hell, even the hair in Kratos' beard, it was all rendered with surprising care. Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is an absolutely stunning game, visually speaking, and its world is overflowing with details that make it come alive like no other. And the game's biggest and most impressive accomplishment, perhaps, is how it achieves that so consistently and so confidently across such a massive scale. It's a Naughty Dog level of polish and attention to detail, but in a significantly larger and wider game, and its accomplishments simply cannot be overstated. Grand Theft Auto 5. Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't the only massive and technically impressive open-world game Rockstar has put out this side of 2010. There's also GTA 5, one of the highest-selling games of all time that still continues to sell. Los Santos in GTA 5 is unbelievably massive, encompassing a variety of different items, and it's brought to life in impressive detail. Just play the game in first-person mode and all that stuff becomes even more apparent. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is one of the most impressive-looking games on the Switch, but Nintendo's attention to detail in that game goes way beyond that. Pick any track in the game and you'll find insane tiny little details. The planet in the background of Rainbow Road 64, the background details in Ribbon Road, the crowds and all the ads in Toad Harbor. The best part is, all of this is stuff you probably won't even notice, especially given how fast you're zipping through all these tracks. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. The great thing about Breath of the Wild is not just its attention to detail, but also how that attention to detail gets integrated into the core gameplay loop for the title itself. If you're wearing metal armor in a thunderstorm, you attract electricity and are likelier to be hit with a lightning bolt. If you go into a cold area, you need to dress warm or you start losing health. If you make sure to take away all the weapons from a camp before attacking it, your enemies start panicking, and larger moblins may start picking up bokoblins and swinging them around wildly, shoot wildlife with fire arrows, and the meat you get is already cooked. It's little things like these that contribute to the game's overall unbelievable sense of place. Other games have managed to pay more attention to a greater number of details, but nothing else has been able to make its attention to detail a meaningful part of its gameplay, like Breath of the Wild has. Just one more reason why the game still continues to captivate so many almost 3 years after its launch. Control. The most recent game to feature on this list, Control's visual fidelity is hugely impressive. The game's most impressive aspect is the complete destructibility and physics of its environment. Literally anything you can lay eyes on can be picked up and thrown, and every single impact is brought to life with glorious particle effects and beautiful explosions. Of course, that also means the game runs at like 3 frames per second, but let's not talk about that right now. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Masahiro Sakurai and his work on Super Smash Bros. Are both pretty much synonymous with a crazy attention to detail, and with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that is at its absolute peak. Every character, every stage, every music track, every move, hell, every single animation displays such a deep understanding of all the franchises the game represents, which is crazy because the game represents a ridiculous number of hugely different franchises. Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11's visual prowess is impressive as it is, but when you consider that it's built on a last-generation engine in Unreal Engine 3, albeit a heavily modified version of it, it becomes even more so. Blood and gore is, of course, the thing this series has always been good at, and Mortal Kombat 11's proud and gleeful detail of shattered bones, sliced bodies, spraying blood, and splattered bits elevates the series to new heights. Resident Evil 2. The RE engine is probably one of the most impressive game engines in the industry right now, and Resident Evil 2 shows off its capabilities perfectly. The haunted environments of the RPD police station, the sewers, and the Umbrella Lab look excellent, while the details like the flickering lights or the busted pipes or the broken windows or so much more heighten the immersion that much further. Oh, and the gore. One look at the detail in the entrails and intestines of corpses and the severed limbs of zombies will tell you all you need to know about how much care and attention went into making this game. Assassin's Creed Unity. Assassin's Creed Unity's launch was famously bad, with the game being riddled with a bevy of technical issues, game-breaking bugs, and visual glitches. That said, Unity is now a much more stable game than it once was, and its incredibly detailed realization of Paris is able to really shine. The crowds themselves are enough to impress anyone, but even the city itself is built so meticulously. Just take one look at Notre Dame. The level of detail in that building in Unity is mind-boggling. The Division 2. Like the wintry Manhattan in The Division, Washington, D.C. in The Division 2 is an incredibly well-realized setting. Ubisoft Massive have a talent for littering every single nook and cranny of their environments with intricate details. Whether you're out in the streets or in a nondescript house or major landmarks or the settlements of the survivors. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, please hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to switch on the notifications bell icon next to it. That way you'll never miss any of our videos. Thanks for watching.